Hi.
Hi.
Do you want to tell me your full name?
Robin Michelle Foltz. Robin with a Y.
And how did you find yourself here?
Not being able to have my own place, and I got in trouble, but
What was that for?
drug possession of syringe,
Okay. And what was your drug of choice?
heroin.
Okay. How long ago was that?
I was arrested originally for it back in May of 2017.
Okay.
But then I went on the run for almost a year.
Okay.
And I got in trouble on probation again. And so they went ahead and asked me where I could stay, but the places that I could stay were not my own. They weren't places that an addict should
Right.
be. So they suggested to reach out to Miss Reba and see if I could stay there. Here.
How old are you?
34.
Do you have kids?
I do. 14-year-old little boy. Well, he's not very little, but
Where is he?
with my mother.
How long has you been with her?
Almost 3 years.
What's the relationship like with your mother?
Between my mother and I,
Mm-hmm.
my mother and me, we have an alright relationship. I guess I kind of still resent her for not being a great or a good mother when I was growing up. Not that there was some things that she just really went above and beyond for, but then there was other things that she was just totally not. She was just totally absent for. So it was just kind of it was like a hit or miss with if she had a boyfriend at the time, or if she had something else going on in her life that overrode whatever I was going through.
You didn't feel like her top priority?
Oh, not ever. I don't think I really ever was, really. Mm-mm.
That's painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then to see her with my son and how attentive and involved she wants to be and is, it's, I'm a little resentful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I'm trying to work on that. I mean, I'm very appreciative. If it wasn't for my mom, someone would probably be in the system.
Sure.
I mean, goodness only knows when the last time I would have seen him was. Like right before I went to jail, I had just spent the weekend with him, let him drive my new car. Like, it wasn't like, he's mine still, so if I wouldn't have had her, like, I wouldn't have him.
Yeah.
So
kind of working on forgiveness.
Yeah.
Is going to be...
And to get past, like, she was, like, I'm young, and I haven't been the best mom.
Right.
She was young, and she wasn't the best mom either. And that wasn't her fault. She did try, I think, the best that she could.
Was she an addict?
She was. She didn't smoke cigarettes or drink. She was smoking pot when I was born. I want to say that I'm pretty sure she said that she started smoking weed like when I was about 2. And when I was about 13, I didn't see her for like 3 days. Couldn't find her, didn't know where she was at. Well, then all of a sudden, her best friend who we lived with, husband came through the door. And then like an hour and a half later, my mom came through the door. And I should not realize this, but I knew that's who my mom was with, was her best friend's man. And I knew something wasn't right, and I just wanted to get away. I didn't feel right. My mom was just choosing another guy again, and this time it was her best friend's husband, and I just didn't want to be around it, so I asked my grandparents to take me in.
So do you feel like you kind of lost respect for her?
I lost respect for her, yeah. When I was really young when I lost respect for her. I remember, I was young. I was like 11, and she's just always picked her boyfriends over me. When I was like 4 to 6, her boyfriend at the time used to yank me out of bed whip my ass and then bring me in the bathroom. I mean, I was asleep. I was in bed, and he would take me in the bathroom after he whipped my ass, and would put what's that jelly stuff called? I can't think of what it's called. And he said it was to take the sting out. I don't know if that's what it was for. I don't know what it was. I don't know. All I remember is him doing that, and then him threatening if I ever told my mother that he would beat me and her both. And then I finally came clean. My mom had left him.
So he molested you?
It wasn't he didn't molest me. Like, he never touched my naked, like, he never touched my front. Like, he always, like, when he whipped me, I don't remember what it was called, but he would put it on my butt.
Aloe vera?
Yeah. Not aloe vera, but it was had a blue lid. It was like a yellow cream, like, not cream, but an oily, I want to say like petroleum jelly or something.
Vicks or something?
I don't remember.
Okay.
And then he would rub it on my behind.
Mm-hmm.
And he always would say, like, if you ever tell, he would threaten to hurt my mom and myself both. Well, then she finally left him.
Did your mom know that the abuse was going on?
No.
Okay.
And then I told her. After they were broke up, she got back with him again. And I said, well, what about, what I told you about? And also, but his son used to molest me. His son, his dad walked in on us. And I couldn't have been any older than 6. And his son was probably about 4 or 5 years older than me. And he always would try to have penetration, but it never worked. But he would, like, dry hump me, and then, naked. But then, and his dad walked in on it. And I remember the table, like, I remember dinner that night, like it was yesterday. And my mom kept asking what was wrong. And Tom just said nothing. Like, he just said nothing, just leave it alone. And the look, like, his look that he gave his son and I was just, I mean, like, if you say a fucking word, you'll pay for it. And I never said anything. Well, then I told my mom, and I said, Tom is the dad, and then Tommy was the son. And I told her what had happened. And I think it was because, the reason I told her was because she was talking about going back to him. And I said, I need to tell you something. And I told her what Tommy and Tom had done to me. And she's like, I'm going to kill that son of a bitch. And then I don't even know how long it was, not too long. And she said, she came back to me and she said, well, I think I'm going to have you come over. We're going to all sit down and talk about this.
You're how old?
I was probably at this time I was probably like 12. Maybe not even. Maybe like 11. I was in whatever 6th grade is.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Whatever 6th grade is. And then I went back. I don't even remember going back. I remember I acted out a lot. I started running away from home and just being with friends. That's all I wanted to do. I hated being at the house. My bedroom was on a back porch, which I said that I wanted it there, but there was no heat back there. Like, as a mother, I don't think she should have let me have it. But I mean, I got to decorate it myself. And I don't know. It was probably more my fault, but then, like, saying that, it sounds so stupid because I was young.
Right.
My mom should have had more, like, no, my daughter's not going to sleep on the back porch.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up, staying out late, and if I was late or didn't abide by his rules, he'd whip me with a belt. There was a couple of times where she goes, he really didn't touch you, did he? He didn't really whip you. I'm like, yeah, he did. And she's like, oh, I just didn't think he would. And she wouldn't even, she didn't stay in the room for it. Like, she didn't, It was just,
You felt unprotected.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then she ended up finally leaving him and then we stayed at her.
So you were how old? So this relationship with this guy went on from...
That guy was like when I was from, I would say, about the age of 4 until 6, maybe 7, and then and then Kevin was in between, because she got back with Tom again. And I think Kevin was like 2nd grade. No, actually, I think she was even with Tom still at 2nd grade. That's how because I can remember stuff by what grade I was in.
Mm-hmm.
So then, 2nd grade to, or maybe 3rd grade is when she got with Kevin. 3rd grade to almost 6th grade. And she got an apartment for us. We had our own place. She left Kevin because he was cheating on her. And she got her own place, and I came home from school, and Kevin was doing in-home at our apartment. And I couldn't believe it. And then she lost her apartment, got back with Tom, and that was 6th grade. And it wasn't very long because, well, yeah, it was. So 6th to 8th grade. Not even 8th grade, because she moved out and got with another guy named Steve. But I would say about a year and a half, we stayed at Tom's house. And then she got an apartment again, but it didn't last long, and we moved back into his place. And then we moved in with a girlfriend of hers, and it wasn't long again because there was another guy named Tom that she dated, and that was her friend's husband. And then this guy, Tom, and then there was a guy after Tom, I can't remember his name.
I hear so much instability.
Oh yeah. I went to every school in Logansport, every middle school and every elementary. I never went to high school there, but yeah, there was no.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's not your fault. Thank you though. No, it wasn't. And then
my daughter's 7.
Yeah.
So I picture you as like a little girl with some of these things, and I'm very sorry.
Yeah, like my dad owned a bar in Logansport, and he's still an alcoholic. And he never really was there, but like he wasn't there. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for him. I mean, he wasn't there. And then, my mom just, she's just with every other person. Like, I've noticed that with me, I've not tried to have my son around people or a father figure to him, but I haven't been. Like, I fought so hard to not be my mom.
Right.
And the more I look at myself, I'm like, oh my God, I'm a mom. And it's really, it's horrible.
Painful.
Yeah.
To look at and watch the patterns repeat themselves.
Repeat and repeat and repeat. And that's why I was like, I think, because I have a boyfriend, and I've been really, fighting myself because I don't want anybody to take time from my son. Like, I'm sick of sharing my time with anybody but my son. And
How long have you been with this guy?
2 years almost.
Did you get high with him?
A couple, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, maybe what's the likelihood that he's going to be coming with you in sobriety for your new life?
He's been clean.
Okay.
But, I mean, not saying that I'm not trying to, he's just younger, and I'm not taking care of anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that. I was a stripper for almost 14 years, and you couldn't pay me to get back to that life. And I'll be damned if I'm going to work, excuse my language, I'll be darned if I'm going to work my butt off in a regular 9-to-5 job and still take care of somebody.
No.
And, I shouldn't have to I just don't want to have to tell somebody to get a job or to do that. Like, I'm not trying to be your mommy. I'm not trying to, I understand building somebody up and stuff, but I'm just trying to work on myself. I don't need to work on somebody else.
Right.
So I'm having a really hard time with, my relationship thing.
I mean, you know, they always say, like, for recovery, you have to be selfish because it's an internal journey. It's
Yeah.
you know, it's an isolated journey
Right.
where you got to go inward in order to get well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's a solo thing, and not saying anything about your relationship, but I mean, just to focus on you at least while you're here.
Yeah.
And find your strength and find your healing. You've been through a lot.
Yeah. And he's like, well, I just want to see you. Yeah, we can't. Like, I'm not, because he's talking about meetings and going to meetings. You do know if you go to a meeting that I go to, you're not going to be able to talk to me. Like, do not, if I go back to, I would be devastated. You know what I mean? So don't think that just because we see each other at a meeting doesn't mean we're going to sit there and, bullshit or, like, run off and, like, some of these people do and go to the bath. I'm not that person. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, I am here for me. I've got to go to these meetings for me. I'm going to these meetings for me. So, I don't know. I've been thinking about it all day to break it off. I don't know what to do, honestly. He just got my name tattooed on his neck. And I just... I feel horrible.
Thank you. How romantic.
I was like... He said, well, I went and got it colored, or he said, I'm going to go get it, the color put in it. And I was like, oh, cool, And then I was in jail, and he goes, I called him back, and he's like, well, I didn't get he said, I didn't get color put in it. I got it colored in. I'm like, colored in? He's like, yeah, the black is thicker lettering now. Oh.
Don't you think sometimes that people, as they feel you kind of pull away, that they'll squeeze tight in?
Yeah.
And
yeah, and he
that's a pretty bold, like,
oh, it's huge.
thing.
Like,
right, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that seems a little confusing.
Yeah.
The relationship and even your stance on it, you seem like conflicted.
I'm very conflicted. My thing is like, I don't know, like there's a 13-year difference. So it's like, I just don't have the patience for it. And he even made a comment about a year ago and said that when we got sober, he was afraid that when we got sober, that I was going to walk away. And, I'm sorry if I'm going to sneeze. And I keep, that's in the back of my head, and I don't know if it's from him saying that and I'm just dwelling on it, or if it's just a reality. And, like, I keep realizing how much we don't have in common, and I don't want to take from my son anymore. I really don't have time or energy for bullshit or anything other than myself.
Right.
Or my kid. And I don't want to hurt anyone, but
Can you turn that light on? Yeah. It's dark in here.
But I don't want to prolong something that is inevitably going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I've been, like, the past 2 days has probably been, like, just picking at me. So, I don't know.
I think, like, anytime that we feel confusion, like, I have to remind myself, like, I don't serve a God of confusion.
Yeah.
And, like, to have the ability to lift it up in prayer and, like, lead me, guide me. Maybe I don't know what's going to happen with all this, but I'm working on me today.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing. You're here.
Mm-hmm.
You're still clean. It's, like, almost 3 o'clock. It's looking like you're going to make it to 6.
Yeah.
And, and then you're going to make it to 9. And so you did the right thing today.
Right.
You're doing the right thing today. And, maybe not making any huge decisions when you're in this, like, pivotal time of your life.
Mm-hmm.
But you hear that small voice inside of you.
Yeah.
And eventually, the more that you start trusting yourself, the truth is a lot of times as we change, everybody can't come.
Right.
You know?
My face is open.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But that's okay. So how old were you when you started getting high?
It started with alcohol, I would say, like, 12-ish. I went from alcohol to acid, and then pot. I smoked pot with my mom, 13. And, I mean, I was already smoking regularly with my friends.
So you were like escaping. Like
Yeah.
as soon as you met drugs, you
Oh, yeah.
immediately got into the like from abuse to like dependence.
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
I want to be anywhere but here.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then I started doing cocaine when I was like 18. And I wasn't really, I wasn't like I did it, and then I would do it on the weekends. I was a weekend user. I didn't work on the weekends. I had 2 jobs. I was doing really well. My aunt had just given me a car. I was doing okay, and then I met my ex-girlfriend, and I started doing smoking it, and it was game over.
Mm-hmm.
I won't touch it. I haven't done that in like 6 years, and you couldn't pay me to do it.
So then, meth helped you detox from the coke.
No, I did meth one time when I was 18, and I tried to run over my son's sperm donor. And it was just horrible. It was the one drug I didn't ever want to do. My mom had done it. I knew that's what my mom had done, and
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it. And then, because they had lied to me and told me it was cocaine. And I was so naive, I had no clue.
Yeah.
And then the girl that we were with, she's like, well, I want you to know that was meth that we were doing. So just in case, I don't want you to find out another way. I want to be able
In
to...
case you're still up next week.
Yeah. And I'm just like, and I freaked out, and I tried to run over my son's dad, and I wasn't pregnant yet. And then I got with my girlfriend, and we smoked crack a lot. And then a girlfriend from work was like, hey, I got this killer, it's called Ice. Well, my girlfriend, she used to make anhydrous dope. Well, I didn't know nothing about it. And she said that the stuff that I probably smoked in the foil with my baby daddy was probably just some bathtub crank. And I was just like, well, I'm going to get 2 bags of this. So I got $50 worth. I was up for 3 days, seeing people fucking in my closet. I mean, it was just...
Insane.
It was insane stupid. And it scared the heck out of me. And I was like, I'm not doing it ever again. And I, of course, started doing it again. But I didn't like it, but it helped, like, clean the house and keep with the kids, because I was taking care of my girlfriend's 2 kids, too, and plus my son was, like, 10 months old at that time, and I worked, and then got into OxyContin, and it went from OxyContin to heroin.
How old were you when you started with the OxyContin?
25, 26.
Did you have any periods of sobriety?
Yeah,
Long term?
in 19. In 2013, 2014, I was sober for almost, I think it was like 14 months.
Okay.
And then I got off paper. I think I was sober for a few weeks, and I went right back to using heroin.
So you've been on heroin for how many years?
Like 7. And shooting it for 3. 2.
So this is technically like life or death here.
Yeah, it's getting to that point where if I don't get away and if I don't say no, I'm going to be another statistic.
Yeah.
And I've already lost so many people to being I don't want that. And my son doesn't deserve that. And I am realizing, like, if I don't get my head out of my ass,
Right.
no matter how much I think I can control or what I think I know about whatever, I will be a statistic. And there's no doubt in my mind that if I pick it up again, that's what will
Like,
happen.
I mean, with the idea of control, like just looking at your history of trauma, and then also your history of past abuse, like it's on the outside looking in, like it's clear, like you don't have the ability to control it.
No.
My only control
No,
is
when I
total
get-
abstinence. Like I can't.
Yeah, if I do
waver
a
in
little,
that.
when I go from little, like I'll say, oh, well, just one time.
Yeah.
That's how I came to jail last time.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'll just do a little. I'll get a little. No, that's
So,
not how it
like,
happens.
one way that I like to think about it, and I don't know that this is, like, therapeutic advice, but don't think, like, one line. Think gram.
Yeah.
And then think how much stuff have you messed up at the end of the gram? Like, what have you, like, who have you disappointed besides yourself?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
to me, that has helped me in my sobriety to say, like, I'm going to go big. And I'm going to mess everything up. It's not going to be a little nothing for me.
I don't think
you know?
about that first 15 seconds after I'm high. I think about the hour and a half, the 3 hours, the 2
next
days.
day. The next day.
Because if I don't continue, because by then I'm at 3 grams or, you know.
It's going to go
so quick. And the money I could have spent on what? If I'm going to be able to look at my family in the eyes, I mean, they're not going to want to see me like that. If my son's not going to see me like that, and I don't want him like that. Like, and that's another thing that scares me is that he's going to fall in that. Like, my dad just was bragging to my uncle Scott the other day, who told my grandmother, who told me, I was still in jail. I was bragging about the awesome shrooms he got. My dad is 53 years old. Why are you bragging to your brother about shrooms? Like,
so you don't want to be that.
No.
You don't.
No, he lives in a bar. I mean, from the time he wakes up, his office is at a bar. Well, he has another office. He has an office, but the people he talks about, like, his office is right on Main Street. It's right there, right by the tracks. Down from Jefferson, there's another Monroe, and then there's tracks right there. Okay, so his office is right there. I mean, for one, it's not even organized. It's just a shithole. For somebody to call it their office is a joke, and for two, I wrote a note on he has a dry erase board on the outside of the door for if people come by and he's not there or whatever. Well, I wrote a little note to him. There was another note on there. I don't remember who the girl was or who it was, but I went back by. Guess whose note was erased off of it? His daughter's. Not the whoever was on there. I don't even know who it was, but that one was not erased, but mine was.
And that hurt. It probably brought back up feelings of rejection and abandonment. Like, it's just a dry erase board, but it would bring all that up. Like, like I'm not worthy.
No. I mean, like, he wouldn't even come to the jail and my grandma was giving him money to put money on my books, and he wouldn't even he wouldn't take it up to me because he didn't want to go to jail because they sent him to prison. My dad's never even been to prison, by the way. Yeah, he's just,
so I think kind of looking at all these family dynamics and like kind of dealing with your trauma is going to be like imperative to you being able to maintain long-term sobriety.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes like we have to dig it all up and look at it, look at what happened, and then look at the part that we played in it from there. And in order to be able to like move forward with your life,
right?
You know, like because you just had it's been a lot, in your life, and you're young, still, and I know you probably don't feel young, you know.
No, I mean I feel young, but I feel like I'm way too old for this